That was kind of disappointing. A lot of owners in China have already complained online, like, seriously, is this an EV or a gas car? If you're sitting inside the car, good luck spotting it. You'll have to feel around blindly to find it. There's just no way to see it directly. It's placed just under the rear camera, which makes way more sense. Zeekr definitely got it right here. They had to come up with this workaround just to squeeze in the recline function, like comically huge, so big. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen such a luxurious feature at this price point. Clearly, the engineers didn't have much real-world experience with this. Pretty clever design, right? But it's a big but. Lastly, let me share a quick driving tip. If you're looking for the snappiest throttle response, just switching to sport mode isn't enough. In my last video about the Xpeng G7, a viewer named Cromals asked me to review the Zeekr 7X, especially its pros and cons. So today, I came to a Zeekr retail store to film this video and take a closer look at the car with all of you. The Zeekr 7X was released in 2024 and quickly became the brand's best-selling model. As more people started using it, some issues began to surface, and I'll walk you through those one by one later in the video. First, let's look at the dimensions. The Zeekr 7X is 4,825 millimeters long, 1,930 millimeters wide, 1,666 millimeters tall, with a wheelbase of 2,925 millimeters. Overall, it's pretty close in size to the Xpeng G7. Both are mid-size SUVs. However, the 7X is about 10 centimeters shorter in length, which could mean less space in the back seats or the trunk. We'll check that out in a bit. Just like the G7, this car is designed with families in mind. It comes in 3 trims: standard rear-wheel drive, long-range rear-wheel drive, and long-range all-wheel drive. In terms of styling, it follows Zeekr's latest design language with a clamshell-style hood and a pixel-style blacked-out light bar. It kind of looks like a lifted version of the Zeekr 007 shooting brake. The clamshell hood isn't just for show. It reduces drag and is commonly seen on sports cars and luxury vehicles. It's more expensive to manufacture, so most family cars don't use it. But the fact that Zeekr went with this design on the 7X is great news for range efficiency. The car I'm showing today is the base trim without the optional light-up front panel, so instead you get a solid black decorative panel in that spot. Below that is a segmented LED daytime running light strip. It's not as sleek as the continuous light bar you'll see on some Li Auto models. Lower on the front bumper, you'll find 4 ultrasonic sensors, just like the G7. It also comes with an active air intake grille and a millimeter wave radar in the center. Right above the radar and just below the license plate bracket, there's a front-facing camera for the 360-degree surround view system. The headlights on the 7X, super sneaky. They're this razor-thin strip tucked right under the daytime running lights. Honestly, if you don't lean in for a closer look, you'd probably have no idea where the actual headlights even are. From the side, you can clearly see the raised contours on both sides of the hood, giving it a muscular and sporty feel. As for the tires, this model comes with Continental EcoContact 7s in 265/45 R20. They're energy-saving tires, more focused on efficiency. But here's the thing, even the single motor version of this car pushes out 422 horsepower, yet it's paired with low rolling resistance tires, which kind of limits how much of that power you can really put to the ground. Under the side mirror, you've got 2 cameras. One handles the 360 surround view and the other is part of the self-driving system. The car uses the popular pop-out door handles, but Zeekr added a clever safety twist. In case of an accident where the handle doesn't pop out, you can just press down on the front end and it'll flip up, so you can still open the door manually. That's such a smart move. Big thumbs up to Zeekr for thinking ahead like that. Since the door handles on this car are already popped out, I'm going to show you how it works on another vehicle instead. The charging port is on the left side of the vehicle, and inside you'll find the China standard GBT connector. On the right, there's a button with the Zeekr logo that's used to close the lid. You also get a little light inside the port area, which makes it super easy to plug in even at charging stations with poor lighting. Big thumbs up for that thoughtful detail. Up top, there's a slight lip on the tailgate that looks like a mini ducktail spoiler. It helps reduce aerodynamic drag. The rear hatch itself also uses a clamshell design which gives the whole back end a smooth, rounded look that mirrors the front. Stretching across the rear are two long red light bars forming a full-width tail light with a camera tucked right in the middle for driving assistance. And check this out, the license plate sits on the lower bumper, but unlike the Xpeng G7, the tailgate release isn't awkwardly low. It's placed just under the rear camera, which makes way more sense. Zeekr definitely got it right here. Just like on the Xpeng G7, the license plate lights on the Zeekr 7X pull double duty. As soon as you lift the tailgate, they turn into ambient lighting. On the surface, it seems like a smart way to kill two birds with one stone. But here's the problem. The lights are angled outward, so they don't actually light up the space under the tailgate. If you're trying to grab something out of the trunk at night, it's not ideal. Some SUVs or minivans do a better job by adding a small light inside the tailgate to really light up the cargo area. Now let's take a look at the trunk space. The depth is about 1 meter, pretty much the same as the Xpeng G7. Lift up the outer floor panel and you'll find another fairly deep storage compartment underneath. Zeekr even added a slot to hold the panel straight up, which makes it easier to access what's inside. This hidden compartment is quite deep, around 35 centimeters, but the opening is really narrow, only about 20 centimeters wide and 40 centimeters long. You could maybe fit a small backpack in there, but if you toss in too many small items, they'll just pile up and make it hard to find what you need. Inside, there's also a shallower storage compartment. The cover is a two-fold panel, but unlike the outer one, it can't stand upright. You have to remove the whole thing to get inside. Compared to the outer storage space, this one is honestly way too shallow. A quick measurement shows it's about 45 centimeters wide, 65 centimeters long, and only 15 centimeters deep. So yeah, neither of these storage areas is particularly practical. If I had to pick, I'd still go with the one in the Xpeng G7. That one can actually fit a 20-inch carry-on suitcase perfectly. All four corners are equipped with anchor points, so you can secure a cargo net to hold your stuff in place. Over on the right side, there's a 220-volt power outlet. Huge win. This is exactly what the G7's trunk is missing. But you'll only get this power outlet if you go for the optional second-row power seats. Right above that, there's a hook, and next to it are 4 buttons that let you electronically fold down or raise the second-row seat backs. On the G7, you've got to do that manually. On the left side, there's also a 12-volt, 180-watt power outlet to cover more use cases. And since this car doesn't come with a built-in fridge, you can still use the portable one from your old gas car, no problem. Just like the G7, the Zeekr 7X has a spot reserved for a retractable cargo cover, so you don't have to worry about prying eyes checking out what you've got in the trunk. The rear wiper, it's hidden right up at the top of the tailgate, tucked away neatly, totally out of sight. Love how clean that looks. Alright, let's check out the front trunk. The hood latch is electronically controlled. You can unlock it from the center screen. Now, the frunk itself isn't huge. Less than 40 centimeters deep and about 50 centimeters long. There's no label showing how much weight it can handle, and I didn't spot any drainage holes either. Since the hood isn't powered, opening and closing it takes some effort, so most folks will probably use this space for stuff they don't need very often. But here's the part that really caught me off guard. There's sound insulation padding under the hood. That's something you'd expect in a luxury car, not necessarily here. A nice little surprise. The side mirrors feature a frameless design and they come with blind spot indicators. They're also generously sized, offering great visibility. More and more Chinese EVs are adopting this kind of low drag mirror design to help maximize driving range, and honestly, it both looks sharp and makes sense. The door handles are touch sensitive, just place your hand on them and the lock automatically pops open. Pretty slick. But here's the letdown. All the windows on this car are single layer glass. Yep, every single one. That was kind of disappointing. A lot of owners in China have already complained online that the Zeekr 7X doesn't do a great job with sound insulation. And honestly, who really cares about a clamshell hood? Like, is anyone actually buying a family SUV because the hood is a clamshell design? Even a Tesla Model Y now has double layer acoustic window glasses. On the other hand, double layer acoustic window glasses, that's something almost everyone pays attention to. Many owners have said they'd much rather see Zeekr ditch the fancy hood and spend that money on proper noise isolating glass. But Zeekr keeps making these puzzling product decisions. Maybe that's why their sales just can't seem to take off. Hidden beneath the door trim is the mechanical door lock release. There's a label there, but the switch itself is really well hidden. If you're sitting inside the car, good luck spotting it. You'll have to feel around blindly to find it. There's just no way to see it directly. The doors don't come with soft close by default. If you opt for the power door package, then you'll get the soft close function included. But personally, I'm not a fan of power doors because you can't just stand next to the door and open it normally. If someone's not familiar with how it works, every time they try to get in, you'll have to roll down the window and tell them to step aside first. Honestly, that gets annoying real quick. Another thing, the logic behind this window switch is completely opposite to the one in the Xpeng G7. Pushing it forward lowers the window, pulling it back raises it. Why not just stick with the traditional design, press down to open, pull up to close? And here's the weirdest part. A light press fully opens or closes the window, while a firm press only moves it while you're holding the button. That's totally backward from what most other cars do. It's like they went out of their way to confuse people. Behind the steering wheel, there's a pebble-shaped driver display with an impressive 2K resolution. It looks super sharp and refined. On the right, you've got the stalk for gear shifting and activating the driver assist system. On the left, it's your standard wiper and lighting controls. Now, the steering wheel itself is dressed up with silver chrome trim, something you don't see every day. Some might love it, some might hate it. Totally up to your taste. Right in the center, there's an eye tracker to monitor the driver's attention. As for the buttons on the wheel, besides the scroll wheels and directional buttons, the bottom left triggers the 360-degree camera view, top left activates the voice assistant, top right starts auto parking, and bottom right lets you toggle the info displayed on the right side of the driver display. This steering wheel is huge. Like comically huge, so big in fact that it completely blocks the entire row of shortcut buttons on the left side of the center screen. Honestly, it feels like Zeekr designed this wheel for their largest model, the 009, and then just decided, hey, let's slap it on everything else too. And this isn't just a one-off issue with the 7X. I checked the 007, the 001, they all have the same problem. It's just a matter of how bad it is. But wait, there's more. The stalks behind the wheel, they're spaced so far apart that I can barely reach them with my fingers. If I want to use the turn signal, I have to physically shift my hand position. And if your hands are on the smaller side, this could be seriously annoying. For comparison, the setup on the 001 is much more ergonomic. You can check out this side-by-side clip to see the difference. Honestly, the human-machine interaction on the 7X's steering wheel is just poorly thought out. I mean, this isn't a city bus or an old-school car with manual steering, so why make the wheel this absurdly oversized? The door pocket is nice and roomy, and there's even a little hidden storage compartment tucked under the armrest, but honestly, it's tiny. You won't be squeezing your phone in there, that's for sure. Maybe, just maybe, it's the perfect spot to stash some emergency cash. If you're still living in the age of physical money, that is, could come in handy for paying parking fees or tipping an old school valet. Just below the center screen, there's a row of physical buttons, but these are not for climate control. From left to right, you've got drive mode selector, tailgate release, volume control, autonomous driving activation, and the glove box release. Yep, Just like on the Xpeng G7, the glove box here is electronically locked. You can even set a passcode on the screen to keep nosy passengers from opening it without your permission. But here's the thing, the glove box doesn't open like a regular storage bin. It's more like a flat panel that drops down. So if you've got a bunch of loose items in there, good luck. They're probably going to spill out all over the floor. Honestly, I have to wonder if the person who designed this has ever actually used a glove box in real life. Both wireless charging pads come with active cooling and support 50-watt fast charging. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. There's no air conditioning vent anywhere near this area. The recessed part of the dashboard where the pads are located doesn't have any airflow. So in the summer, your phone is likely to overheat, which can throttle the charging speed. Clearly, the engineers didn't have much real-world experience with this. The best solution would have been placing an air vent directly in front of the wireless charging pads. That way, cool air could blow straight onto the phones, helping to prevent overheating during fast wireless charging. When it comes to the air vents, the Zeekr 7X uses electronically controlled front vents. You can turn them on and off or adjust the direction through the infotainment screen, but there's no auto sweeping function. And even though they're designed to be hidden, the airflow comes straight out instead of being reflected off a panel like on the Xpeng G7. So yeah, the 7X's climate control doesn't feel quite as refined. One more thing, the center vents are placed way up on top of the dashboard, which feels oddly far from the passengers. And these two central vents, they only let you adjust the airflow side to side, not up and down. Plus, they are tucked behind the main screen, meaning any airflow just ends up hitting the back of the screen. Maybe it's just a clever way to cool the display down. I don't know. If you're curious why it's designed like this, you'll have to ask Zeekr's design team. Another issue is the air vent designed to help defog the windows. It's placed right on top of the door panel and positioned way too close to the edge. So if you're the type who enjoys driving with the windows down, just be careful. It's way too easy for dust, leaves, or random road gunk to fall right in. The Zeekr 7X comes equipped with a massive AR head-up display equivalent to a 36-inch display with peak brightness reaching up to 12,000 nits. Apologies if it doesn't look super clear in this shot. There's a white wall and a white car right in front of us. But don't worry, it has a snow mode that turns the display yellow, so whether you're driving in harsh sunlight or snowy conditions, you can still see your info clearly. As for the center screen, it's a 16-inch mini LED display with a sharp 3.5K resolution, basically on par with the one in a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Powering it all is Qualcomm's 8295 chip, and yep, the system feels snappy and buttery smooth. At first glance, it looks like you can't put a bottle in the center cup holders. But hold on, press these two buttons and the dividers pop out. See, now it looks like it can hold a cup perfectly. Pretty clever design, right? But it's a big but. Once you actually put a water bottle in there, you'll notice a major issue. It just doesn't stay in place. Look at all that extra space. The bottle shakes around and makes noise while you drive. Why? Because both cup holders only have a tiny spring-loaded stopper. This is yet another case of over-design. Honestly, wouldn't it be better to just go with two regular cup holders that actually work? The center armrest box uses a side opening design. You can open it from either side. The opening itself isn't huge, but it's really deep, around 35 centimeters. But yep, you guessed it, there's a problem here too. We'll talk about that when we get to the back seat. There's also a storage compartment under the center console with two USB-C ports inside, but the opening is placed a bit awkwardly. It's set too far back. So when you're seated in the car, the seat actually gets in the way, making it kind of inconvenient to reach in and grab anything. Since there's no traditional side mirror adjustment switch, you have to go into the mirror adjustment menu on the central screen and use the scroll wheel on the steering wheel to tweak the mirror angles. Now, there's actually a pretty cool feature. It's supposed to automatically adjust whichever mirror you're looking at, but in real-world use, it's not super accurate. You have to look at the eye tracker in the middle of the steering wheel first, then shift your gaze to the side mirror you want to adjust. Otherwise, no matter how much you scroll, nothing happens. So honestly, I'd recommend just manually selecting left or right from the menu and skipping the whole look to adjust gimmick. Both the front and rear seats come with heating, ventilation, and massage functions. The leather feels really premium to the touch. Compared to the Xpeng G7, the seats here are a bit firmer, but they also offer better support. That said, we shouldn't judge a seat solely based on how soft it is. It really just comes down to different design philosophies. The front seats come with extendable thigh supports, which is great for accommodating drivers of different heights. Big thumbs up for that feature. The front passenger seat belt feels a bit loose. The tension isn't quite strong enough. Some owners have mentioned that on bumpy roads, the belt can knock against the B-pillar and make an annoying rattling sound. So if you're planning to get this car, I'd recommend picking up a silicone cover or something similar to help eliminate that noise. Let's take a look at the headliner. The Zeekr 7X uses a fabric headliner, which doesn't look quite as premium as the Alcantara one you get in the Xpeng G7. The sunroof comes with a powered sunshade, and it follows the same logic as the window switches. A light press fully opens or closes it, while a firm press can stop it midway. The reading lights are dual color, and you can slide your finger along this sensor strip to switch between the colors. The interior rear view mirror isn't a digital display, and it's just a regular mirror. But the rear window on the tailgate is really small, so you can barely see what's behind you through the mirror. Honestly, this car should have come with a digital rear view mirror, and it's a bit of a letdown that it didn't. Alright, now let's take a look at the rear seats. This particular car has the optional rear seat package. If you don't opt for it, all three trims only come with rear seat heating. But once you go for the upgrade, you get the full set: heating, ventilation, massage, and even electric recline adjustment. Before stepping into the rear seats, I've got to give a big thumbs up to the rear door design. The opening angle is seriously impressive. Visually, it looks close to a full 90 degrees. That makes it way easier for passengers to get in and out, and also super convenient for installing child seats or loading bulky items. Huge credit to the designers for this thoughtful detail. The rear doors, like the front ones, also use single-layer glass. At the top of the rear door panel, there's a black plastic strip, and I'll tell you what that's for in just a moment. The overall design of the rear door interior matches the front, including the hidden manual door release, which is just as tucked away. One thing I do appreciate though is that, unlike the Xpeng G7, Zeekr didn't cut corners here. The rear door's mechanical release still works with a simple pull, which is great for safety. Now let's hop into the back seat. First, looking up at the headliner, you'll see the reading lights aren't touch sensitive. You actually have to press the button to turn them on. Right next to that is a speaker. On the B-pillar, there's a small hook, and just below it, an air vent. I really like the B-pillar vent design. It doesn't blow air directly at your head like those mounted on the ceiling. On the back of the front seats, there's a glossy piano black trim, also known as a fingerprint magnet. On top of that, it's super easy to scratch just by wiping it. Personally, I think this is one of the worst choices for interior trim. As for legroom, it's seriously impressive. Over 20 centimeters. It doesn't feel noticeably tighter than the Xpeng G7, even though the front seat is now in welcome mode and pushed far back, which isn't a typical driving position. The Zeekr X7 is actually 10 centimeters shorter than the Xpeng G7, but in terms of passenger space and trunk capacity, they're almost neck and neck. Honestly, Zeekr might have pulled off even better space efficiency with the X7. There's a handle located at the very bottom of the front center armrest, most likely intended for removing the storage box and swapping it out for the optional mini fridge. The window switch on the door panel actually has a second function. When the window is already closed, pulling the toggle backward activates the power sunshade. Yup, that black plastic strip at the top of the door panel, it's the cover for the sunshade. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen a power sunshade on a car at this price point. Even the Li Auto Mega, which costs twice as much, only comes with a manual one. But to be honest, I still think the money would have been better spent giving owners double layer acoustic glass all around. The cool thing about this one button setup is that it only lets you raise the sunshade when the window's fully closed. And before you can roll the window down, the shade has to fold in first. Pretty smart, it saves money and keeps you from accidentally wrecking the sunshade while driving. The rear child seat anchors are tucked under this leather flap, and it's held down by Velcro, kinda annoying to pull open. Because this car's got the optional power rear seats, there's a little touchscreen here in the center armrest for rear controls, And right next to it, inside this storage space, they hid two USB-C ports. Honestly, I gotta complain again. Who designed this stuff? If I didn't point it out, would you even know where the USB ports are? If you go for the optional power rear seats, you also get this one-click queen seat feature right here on the touchscreen. All right, let me try it out. Honestly, super comfy, great for chilling while your car's charging or sneaking in a nap if you're working out of your car. But here's the thing, the leg room's kind of tight. I'm 1.71 meters, and when I lift my feet just a bit, they hit the front seat. So yeah, this setup's really designed with smaller folks in mind, probably perfect for petite ladies. But if you're around 1.8 meters tall, yeah, this seat's probably not gonna cut it for you. Honestly, I'd recommend going for a bigger ride, like the Deepal SO9 I reviewed earlier. That thing has a zero gravity seat that's way more comfortable than this one. You can hit the link up in the top right corner to check it out, or just scroll down and find it in the description. Over on the right rear door armrest, there are two extra buttons. Then they let you move the front passenger seat and adjust its backrest. And honestly, that's so much more convenient than putting those controls on the back of the seat like some other brands do. This car isn't that tall, but surprisingly, rear headroom is solid. I'm about 1.71 meters tall, and there's still more than 10 centimeters of space above my head. That's impressive. I was just getting out of the car when I noticed, wait a second, the rear floor isn't flat? Like seriously? Is this an EV or a gas car? It's 2025 and we still have electric cars with a raised hump in the rear. The only reason I can think of is they never planned for stuff like a fridge or power rear seats from the start and just slapped it on later. So now they had to raise the floor to squeeze in all the wiring. Now here's what really confirms my theory, the way the rear seat reclines. When you lean the seat back, the whole cushion slides forward too. So yeah, that pretty much proves it. This rear seat clearly wasn't meant to recline in the first place. They had to come up with this workaround just to squeeze in the recline function. When the Zeekr 7X first launched, it made a big splash. With barely any serious rivals, Xpeng's G6 was too small and the G9 already felt a bit dated. It quickly climbed to around 10,000 units per month at its peak in 2024. But fast forward to 2025, and we're seeing that number drop to about 5,000 units a month. And the timing isn't great for Zeekr. Xpeng has just pushed out a mid-cycle refresh across its lineup, and the all-new G7 is joining the game. Oh, and let's not forget, Xiaomi's YU7 is jumping into this exact same segment right as this video goes live. With competition heating up fast, it's safe to say sales of the 7X will likely keep sliding. Now, after digging through the details, it's clear there are some weird design contradictions in the 7X. Over-designed cup holders, massive steering wheel, and no dual-pane windows, just to name a few. Honestly, unless Zeekr drops the price, I don't see how they can stay competitive. A mid-cycle refresh? Probably not this soon. Although, let's be real, they did roll out 3 model years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, all within one single year, which absolutely wrecked the 001's reputation. Hopefully, they've learned their lesson. So, should you buy the Zeekr 7X? If you're all about driving experience, you want more power and maybe even air suspension, the 7X is definitely the better pick. But if what you're after is a more practical, family-friendly package with more refined design logic, I'd say go with the Xpeng G7. Lastly, let me share a quick driving tip. If you're looking for the snappiest throttle response, just switching to sport mode isn't enough. The acceleration can still feel a bit delayed. To truly unlock the full potential, you need to completely turn off ESC from the infotainment system. That's when the car really enters full sport mode, and you'll notice a significant improvement in how quickly the accelerator responds. Thanks for watching. If this helped you decide, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments, would you go with the Zeekr 7X or wait for the G7 or YU7? See you in the next one.